Sure. Yeah, got here last night and had a really good practice today over at the stadium, and everybody here has been great. Gary and the staff have been excellent. Everything was really well done. We got here and just got off the field a little while ago. Meetings and looking forward to a great week here.
All right. Thanks, Coach. We'll go right into questions. We'll take our first question from Nathan Baird from Cleveland.com. Go ahead, Nathan.
Hey, Ryan, I know that you wanted to be playing on Conference Championship weekend as Georgia was, but getting that week and focusing on Georgia that week, any ways that you think that you're seeing that pay dividends in the weeks since then, the practices you've had, either tactically or just in terms of attitude, focus, that sort of thing?
Well, I think the whole month has been a really good month for us as a team. Really have got a lot of good work done. I think it started off, and we always do this when we're preparing for a bowl game. We kind of break it up into fundamentals, game plan, and then the game week as we're here in Atlanta now. But I think that there's been a focus on really high levels of execution. I think that there's been a focus on just overall physicality at practice. And, I think as we finished our work in Columbus, you could see there was just an energy as we headed off, down here to Atlanta, and then that continued today. So, we'll see as we get towards Saturday, but I can say that, our guys have been working hard, the staff's been working hard. There's a level of urgency that we know we have to play our best football here in this game. And so we're going to continue to prepare as hard as we possibly can, on the field, off the field, and make sure we have a great week here in Atlanta.
All right, we'll take our next question from Bill Rabinowitz. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, right. I just kind of building off a couple of things there. Georgia is obviously a very physical team. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm in a car. I'm sorry. Georgia is a very physical team. How important is it for you to match their physicality? And as you said, I don't know that Ohio State's played an entire 60 minutes of top of their game football. Do you agree with that? And how important is it that happen?
Well, the good news is we have great experience being in this style of a game. This is our third time playing in the CFP in the last 4 years. So, but we have some really good examples to draw upon of what is going to transpire in this game. So we've been talking to our guys about how, first off, just how much excitement there's going to be at the stadium, the atmosphere, the electricity, and how when you're in games like this, every yard is a fight. Every first down, every point is going to be that way. So we've been preparing that way. We've been practicing that way, and we'll continue to do that throughout the week because we know what a challenge we have here. But when you get into the CFP, certainly there's just a certain level that we have to make sure we're preparing for. And I think our guys have been doing that, and they're working hard, and the leadership's going to have to play really well in this game. Our older guys, our veteran guys are going to have to lead the way because we know in big games like this, veterans have to play veterans. So certainly have a great challenge and a great opponent in Georgia. We know that. They have a lot of great weapons. Certainly they play a high level of football. They're defending national champs and certainly undefeated this year. So we know what we're up against, and we're continuing to prepare for that, and certainly looking forward to this week as we head to Saturday.
All right, we'll take our next question from Tony Gertman. Go ahead, Tony.
Ryan, this is going to be one of those games where Georgia has guys that we recruited. You guys have players that Georgia's recruited. What's it like as a head coach when somebody on the other side of the field that you recruited is having a play against you?
Well, it's a small world. Football is a small world. Now even more than ever, you end up recruiting guys, and then you end up, having played against them, or even have them come back in the transfer portal. There's only so many players out there, and there's only so many people typically that fit your profile too. And so we run in small circles, And well, we know a lot of the people who play at Georgia. We know their families, but that's similar to a lot of the teams we play. And now with travel and the way that recruiting goes, you're in touch with a lot of people. You recruit a lot of people, and they've done an excellent job of recruiting. And they have a lot of really good football players on that side of the ball, or in all three phases. At Georgia, and Kirby's done a good job of recruiting. So. We know those guys. We know how talented they are, and obviously how well they're coached. So we know the challenge ahead of us. But to your question, we're kind of used to playing against guys that we know about and that we've recruited against.
All right, we'll go next to Chip Towers from the AJC.
Yeah, Ryan, if you would go over the logistics just a little bit of you guys deciding to get in on Christmas night. Did you guys Christmas together, for lack of a better word, and then just wondering what your practice regimen is like. Are you guys still hitting and stuff, or is this install? What's the week ahead look like from a preparation standpoint with all this bowl stuff going on in between?
Sure. Yeah, we did. We got in last night and had a little dinner for everybody last night, which was great. And appreciate Gary and everybody at the Peach Bowl doing a great job for the families. And have a lot of family and children here in the travel party. So there was a Santa Claus here handing out gifts for the families, and so that was great. It was a quick flight down. So for those who were on the charter. There's a good portion of our team that wasn't on the charter. They were flying in from different parts of the country as we gave them a couple days off before we headed to the bowl site. So got here, and then it's going to be a typical week. Went over there and practiced today, and then we'll keep our routine. We're going to try to do the best we can to make the hotel here our Woody Hayes Athletic Center, and make Mercedes-Benz our Woody Hayes practice facility. And I think that's part of the process of being at the bowl site. So. Try to keep things as normal as possible.
Thank you.
You got it.
All right, we'll go next to Spencer Holbrook. Go ahead, Spencer.
Ryan, when you guys get to the bowl site and you start these practices, how much different are they than the days before Christmas? Like, is it just like a normal week, and how hard is it to keep a normal week when you've got all of the bowl activities that come with being in Atlanta for a week? That surround everything that goes on with the semifinal.
Well, I think that's why you have to keep as many things routine as possible, because it is a little bit different. There are some things that are not normal, like you said. So how many things can we possibly just keep the routine so that when guys are here at the hotel or over at the stadium, they can kind of visualize where things are and keep the routine, so they don't have to really process too much there, and they can focus on getting on the field and doing a great job in their preparation and practicing. But the Peach Bowl and everybody at Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl does a great job of setting up these events and organizing things so that the guys have things to do. But I think our guys are going to do a good job of staying focused on what really is important here, and that's playing the game at 8 o'clock on Saturday.
All right, we'll go next to Joey Kaufman.
Ryan, sorry if there's a bit of crowd noise here. Just had a question about the uniforms you guys are wearing, the playoff threads with the thicker gray stripes on the sleeves. You guys have worn them in all the playoff games since you've been the coach. What do you like about that look? That's kind of been your predominant playoff look.
Yeah, we try to honor the traditions and try to do the best we can in that area and make sure that we're doing a great job. And that's been something that we've done here in the past, and our guys like it. We've got good feedback on that, so we decided to do that again this year.
All right, we'll go next to Charles Odom. Go ahead, Charles.
There are a lot of brackets on the skill positions on Georgia's depth chart, and I'm wondering, as you prepare for Georgia, how does that affect the difficulty when they're rotating so many running backs, receivers, tight ends, etc.?
Yeah, well, they've done a great job recruiting and have depth at so many positions, and so I know one of their something they take a lot of pride in is playing a lot of depth. In offense and defense. I think, like you said, there's guys who roll in the front. There's guys who roll in the back end. multiple running backs, multiple wide receivers. That's when you're playing against a really good team who plays with a lot of depth and is recruited really well. That's one of the things you have to prepare for. And what does that mean? Well, you just have to know that you're not going to just hone in on one or two guys. You got to be aware of more than one of those guys, and that's a sign of a good team.
All right, we'll go next to Bill Landis. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey Ryan, the last time I saw you guys in a playoff game against Clemson, you guys did a really good job of kind of using tempo to your advantage in that game, and I'm wondering if you think a similar approach in this game is necessary against Georgia's defense, and then also maybe broader, just how your philosophy on that has developed over the course of your career, whether you've ever wanted to play super fast or if you've always been someone who tries to balance that.
Yeah, there's times like you said that we've done that before, and it's been very good for us. As we get closer to the game, we'll kind of figure out how that fits for us. But I think one of the things that we have done over the past 5-6 years is have the ability to do that when need be, or if we think it gives us an advantage for a myriad of reasons, then we'll do it. I think it's one of those things where nowadays, if you're just no huddle going really, really fast every single game all the time, and that's all you do, teams can get immune to it. But I think if you have the ability switch it up from game to game or from series to series or play to play, then it's a little bit more of a weapon. And that's something that we've kind of probably done more here in the last few years than early on. We used to play a lot faster, I think, as you remember, just a lot of snaps. But teams have kind of adapted to that a little bit more, and they become no-huddle defenses. So, we try to stay ahead of that and use it as a tool, but not something that we're doing all the time, every game.
All right, we've just got time for about 2 to 3 more. We'll go next to Stephen Means. Go ahead, Stephen.
Well, Ryan, get on the recruiting trail. I know you guys kind of recruit all over the place, but when you and Mark are, kind of strategizing different areas you want to go into, is there an idea of maybe a number of what would make a trying to attack this third area, what would make that worth it in the long run?
Well, there's a lot that goes with it. I think first off, it's the location and the proximity to Columbus and Ohio. I think that matters a lot. Certainly the number one focus is the state of Ohio for a lot of reasons. But once you get outside of that, then certainly there's a kind of a 4 to 5 to 6 hour radius that is something that we take a look at. But then from there, for instance, like in the state of Georgia, just a tremendous amount of talent, really well coached players, great programs. They play football year round, and so they're graduating high school, in a position to really compete for spots coming out of high school into college, and so being down here is great this week. We certainly have recruited this area very hard and know how competitive it is here, but they have great players and great coaches. So this is certainly an area that we focus heavy into, in the recruiting cycle. It's less than 10 hours of a drive, and obviously an easy flight, from Atlanta to Columbus. So it's easy for folks to get, to and from Atlanta to Columbus, and certainly the amount of players here speaks for itself.
All right, we'll go next to Dan Hope.
Hey Ryan, this is second game in a row that you guys are going up against a team that's really good at running the ball. So when you look back at what happened against Michigan, what are the things you look at that you guys have to do better to be able to stop the run without giving up too much in the pass game?
Yeah, Georgia does a great job, and I think they have a great mix. I think when you look at what they do on offense, they're going to try to challenge you in a lot of different areas, and certainly it starts with the run game, like you're saying. And so, we've got to play with great fundamentals. We have to learn to, how they're trying to attack us within the game, and then obviously, get our guys into the best position possible schematically. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to fundamentals and running to the football, playing really hard, pad level, tackling, and certainly, like you said, you can't overcommit, because then you put yourself at risk in the back end. So. We have to do a good job of, again, the coach's job is to make sure that we put our guys in the situation to be the most successful, and then it's our guys' job to play really, really hard. And So we've taken a hard look at certainly what happened in the last game, but also the challenge coming into this game, and put a good plan together. Need to continue to have a really good week of practice, and then we let the guys go play. And in this environment, they got to go play fast. And having a couple extra weeks of preparation has helped their guys for sure.
All right, we'll go next to Jordan Hill. Go ahead, Jordan.
Ryan, you were asked about physicality earlier. What stands out to you when it comes to Georgia's defensive line and specifically with their physicality?
I think when you look at their defensive line, first off, you see some really good players with really good size, but you also see multiple people that can play. You see really 2, sometimes 3 deep, at each of the positions inside, but I think they do a great job with their hands. I think they do a good job with their pad level, and they try to just eat up as many gaps as possible and try to try to create a mess inside, and they do a good job of that. So and have and done that against a lot of great teams and a lot of great offenses. So we know that we got to play our best game up front. We know what the challenge is, and certainly some great players over there. So but that's what working towards this all year is all about. You have to be playing your best football right here in the CFP, and certainly we're going to get challenged here on Saturday.
All right, and we'll take our last question from Patrick Murphy. Go ahead, Patrick. All right, and instead of Patrick, let's go to Andy Backstrom. Go ahead, Andy.
Hey Ryan, players told us in mid-December there was a lot of good practicing. At what point do you taper that off, and when do you know what time to taper that off?
Yeah, we did a lot of that during the fundamental phase, kind of that first phase, and then we mixed in that during the second phase, and then as we head into this week, we'll still have some good on good like we always do, but this is a typical game week practice for us. So there'll be scout work, there'll still be good on good, and I think mixing that in, keeps our guys, keeps their edge, and so we'll mix that in this week, but as we head into the game week, this will be more of a typical week where leading up to this, we did a lot more good on good.
All right, that'll do it for you, Coach. Thanks very much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Good, how are you?
We're doing great. I appreciate your time. All right, we'll continue the Ohio State session with Tommy Eichenberg, and we'll go ahead with questions. Please use the raise hand feature to get in the queue. And let's start with Austin Ward. Go ahead, Austin.
Tommy, I don't know how nervous you normally get for any game or a big game. Does it feel different at all for a playoff? And now that you're here, when might that set in if you have any nerves?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Probably closer to the game. But I'd say it's more, excitement to play.
All right, we'll go next to Nathan Baird. Go ahead, Nathan.
Tommy, just as you guys look at what Georgia does as a rushing attack, what stands out to you, why that's been so effective?
Yeah, I think all around, they got a good O-line, good running back, and a good scheme. So I think when you put all those together, you'll be pretty good.
Next to Bill Rabinowitz.
The challenge of facing Georgia's tight ends, obviously it's more than one, it's Boston and Washington. How big a challenge is that? What do you guys have to do?
Yeah, they're good tight ends. They can pat, and they're effective in the pass game, also in the run game too. Good as blockers. So I think when it comes down to that, everyone's got to do their job. Yeah.
Thank you. Go next to Chip Towers. Go ahead, Chip.
I wonder what your familiarity is with Georgia. You got any friends over there? Have you known much? Were you recruited by them? And just kind of, what's your level of familiarity with your opponent?
Before playing them, no familiarity. I've seen them play, but obviously this past week studying them now. But I don't know anyone that's went there. Nothing really.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to Spencer Holbrook next.
Tommy, how important is it for you guys to keep a routine this week and not get distracted by the other things that are going on? The pre-bowl process, the events that they have planned for you guys. Obviously, you want to have some fun while you're down there, but how important is it to stay locked in on what you guys need to do Saturday night to win?
I think it's very important. Coach Day was telling us, we're on a bowl and things like that, but, we're down here to play a game to beat Georgia. And I think, we got to do all these events and stuff, but it's, we got one goal, and it's to beat Georgia.
All right, back to Charles Odom.
Tell me one more about the Georgia run game. As you've studied game film, obviously they roll 3, maybe 4 running backs. Do you see anything distinguishable in terms of their style, or do they seem to be the same kind of physical and speed and same kind of mix of talents?
I'd say, just with running backs, I'd say every running back kind of plays different. Sees the game different, sees holes differently. Some are faster than others, but I'd say overall, they're all great running backs. So.
All right, next question from Tim May.
Yeah, call it out. Hey, Tommy, when you look at a couple of games, your last couple of games there, Tully had a little bit of success scrambling, getting away from you guys, getting those little pickup yards. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy kept drives alive with some scrambles, some timely runs and stuff. What are sort of the lessons learned from those 2 experiences? Because clearly Stetson Bennett has that capability also. He's shown in a lot of big games.
Yeah, I think just with quarterback run, quarterback scramble, it comes down to doing our job. Quarterback scramble can, happen in pass and everyone's covered up and he scrambles, but, the play's never over, right? So you got to keep going. Quarterback run really comes down to doing your job. And so that's what we're focusing on.
All right, Tommy, I don't see any other questions in the queue, so you're all set, buddy. We appreciate your time.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
I said, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I said the Michigan game was exactly a month ago. Does it seem like a month? Does it seem like a year, a day? I mean, what's that been like? And how gratified are you that you have a second chance as a team?
I mean, we're all the focus is on Georgia right now. There's, that one stings, yes, but right now we're focused on winning this game right now, and we're not worried about that.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go next to Cameron T.
Hey, Cade, I asked Steele this a couple days, maybe last week. You guys, both you and him, had a lot of success switching positions. Ohio State has done it before. You've done it. Ships goes back and forth. Xavier plays receiver and running back sometimes. What is it at Ohio State that makes you guys as a program so successful? And is there something to a specific player being good at being able to change positions and be successful at it so quickly?
I just think that sometimes, there's multiple different versatile players on this team that can do a lot of different things, and to really figure out what they're best at, you got to move them around a couple times and give them a try out of each one of them. So we got lucky enough to have some guys stick at those spots, and it's been good.
All right, we'll go next to Jordan Hill. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, just wanted to ask about what has stood out to you about Georgia's defensive line, just knowing you guys are going to be going up against them Saturday.
Yeah, that's a tough big front seven. Athletic and long. So we're excited for the challenge. We're excited to play them.
All right, next to Nathan Baird.
Hey, Cade, before you guys even knew you were going to play Georgia, and really before you knew for sure you were in the playoff, those practices and the mindset sort of started shifting to Georgia right that week of the conference championship games. Do you think that set any kind of a tone, and did it pay off for you guys in the weeks that have been leading up to now?
Yeah, I think anytime you have an opportunity to get back on the field earlier than what you expected and without set in stone, foreseen future. For us to be out there and practice and have those couple days, it was very helpful and beneficial now.
Next, we'll go to Tim May. Go ahead, Tim.
Thank you very much, man. I was wondering, Cade, have you guys amongst each other spoken about this or thought about this? That 23 points is not enough points to win games like this, and 3 points in the second half is not acceptable. How much is that stuck in y'all's craw as y'all prepare for this game, knowing the challenge ahead of it?
I mean, we practice every play, every snap. That, I mean, if it doesn't score, then that's not acceptable for us, and clearly that's not. I mean, that obtainable, of course. I mean, football, they practice too, but I mean, we expect to go in there and be successful every drive, and if we don't, we're going to come back and solve the problems.
Yeah, real quick, last year this time you were switching over. You were playing the linebacker in the Rose Bowl. There was kind of a hodgepodge on offense. Your two top receivers didn't even play in that game. Obviously, they opted out. So, is there a sense of maybe calm is not the right word, but of confidence that this group is together? You understand what I mean? Who's got each other's back, etc. going into this one.
Yeah, I mean, we're excited. I mean, we got a good group of guys with us here that we trust each other, and we're excited to go in here with the group we got.
Thanks, man.
All right, next, Chip Towers. Go ahead, Chip.
Yeah, Cade, thanks for doing this. I just wondered, in the tight end fraternity, do you keep up much with the other tight ends? Obviously, Georgia has a couple of pretty good ones in Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington, and the position itself seems to have had a resurgence in football overall. Certainly has in Georgia, but seems like it has in other places too. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a very key piece to a good offense. If you got a guy, I mean, it's a both. I mean, your offensive lineman and your receiver. So if you got a guy that's good enough to do both, you can really add elements to your offense that you wouldn't if you had a guy that couldn't do that. So I think just overall having people having a tight end position really come back to life, it has to do with that, and people realizing that you can do a lot with that position.
All right, we'll go next to Tony Gerdman.
Hey, Cade, so many people are talking about the Georgia tight ends. Do you think, have the Ohio State tight ends heard that? What do you guys think about that? Are you guys being overlooked?
Right.
Your position?
I mean, I'm pretty sure. That's a good question. I don't know, man. We're just ready. I'm not getting caught up in what's being said, what's not being said, because it really doesn't matter at the end of the day here. We're just trying to win this game.
All right, time for a couple more. We'll go next to Bill Landis. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, Cade, I know you guys don't play like super fast up-tempo all the time, but when you do, it does seem to kind of suit you guys well and be effective. What do you like as an offense when you do get to play that fast, and how does it feel, I guess, when you're able to put a defense on its heels that way?
Just like you said, I mean, keeping defense on its heels and not letting the feet get in the ground and really get their keys and eyes right away. I mean, it can lead to indecision here and just some blown coverages here and there, so we like to mix that in here and there.
Next, we'll go to Austin Ward. Go ahead, Austin.
Cade, I know you would never, want to use this as an excuse, but you were a little banged up there the last couple weeks of the regular season. How much do you think that impacted you or limited you at all, and how much did sometime this month help you to get ready for Saturday night?
I mean, everybody's banged up in the season. Whether how much it affected me or not, I'll never admit it because, that's just the way it is. You can't be like that. You're playing football. You signed up to get beat up, so you better play beat up. Last couple of weeks have been nice to kind of get your feet back underneath you here, and hopefully we're going to come in this game healthy.
All right, we'll take our last question from Andy Backstrom. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, obviously it's extremely tough to run the ball against this Georgia team, but how much is offensive balance being stressed right now, especially given the way that second half went against Michigan?
We're just we got the plays down. We got the people here to do it. It's just a fact of putting it all together here and playing all 11 together and just doing your job one at a time here and be successful running the ball.